Hello friends, what's going on? Welcome back to Football Therapy with me, your host Jan. I hope you're doing well, my friend. I genuinely really do hope that. Welcome back to Chelsea News here in the Stamford Bridge studio. Here in the fallout, in the wake of Chelsea's destruction against Man City away in the Etihad. Of course, Chelsea is a hot topic of discussion at the moment because of basically us not performing well, players looking dysfunctional, questions being asked, and of course Chelsea fans away in the Etihad singing for the previous ownership in Roman Abramovich and the previous manager, and Thomas Tuchel has sparked discussion across all media platforms, which has led to this video and me doing something a little bit different to what I usually do. And that is discuss and reflect on a discussion on TalkSport, or at least a few comments made by pundit broadcaster Simon Jordan. Before we do get into that, I'd thank you for joining me. It's a pleasure to have you all here on Football Therapy. Please do consider liking and subscribing to support the channel. I appreciate you very much, mate. Right, let's get into it. So this is, by the way, Chelsea news, and there's a couple of things I want to talk about. An update on Romano for our new striker, David Detro Fofana, who we did see fleetingly in yesterday's game, and an update on Badiashile, as well as Levi Colwill from David Ornstein from The Athletic. You'd argue the best two sources for information regarding transfer news. But indeed, I do want to start with his comments made by Simon Jordan, on TalkSport. Now, I don't really listen to TalkSport. I sometimes watch the clips on YouTube. A lot of the time, it's sensational nonsense. And when you got chaps like Jamie O'Hara on there, you really want to steer clear as much as possible. But of course, there are good pundits on there as well. Laura Woods is very, very good. And Simon Jordan. Now, he's one of those characters. He, of course, was an owner of a Premier League club. He owned Crystal Palace for a long, long time. He's incredibly intelligent, incredibly rich. And he's in the know. He's in circles of football club owners, and he, rubs shoulders with many, many people and is well informed with all happenings. Now, he's one of those people that either really grind your gears, which he does me sometimes, or is really insightful and impressive. It's kind of like one of the people that you love to hate. You know what I mean? Anyway, so he spoke in response about the Chelsea scenario, the situation we find ourselves in. Languishing in mid-table, being eliminated in both cup competitions by Manchester City, the Premier League champions, of course, and well-settled side under Pep Guardiola. And I don't know if you've seen Guardiola's comments after the game yesterday. I saw it after my post-match presser, which was a bit of a real sobering post-mortem. And if you're yet to watch my post-match presser from yesterday's loss, I'd urge you to do so. It's the latest upload before this one, so if you take a few minutes and watch that, because I really break down the scenario at Chelsea Football Club at the moment. Pep Guardiola, after the game though, he said he's always been a big fan of Graham Potter. He used to wax lyrical about his Brighton side, etc. He said, look, you need to be given time. I didn't do well here immediately. He says, I did well immediately at Barcelona because I had Lionel Messi, which is pretty funny because it's true. You also had, Iniesta, Xavi and Busquets in midfield. Bit different to what was happening at Chelsea. A lot of people are rallying to Graham Potter, understandably as well. So, Simon Jordan was talking about this, and he was talking about Todd Boehly. He's seemingly, over time, grown more and more, on side with Todd Boehly, because maybe early doors, a lot of pundits were like, oh, what's Todd Boehly doing? He's playing sporting director, he's playing football manager, he's flying around, buying all these players, talking to Mendes, rubbing shoulders, hosting dinners, and it's like, what's this American doing over here, thinking he can, run a football club and actually get involved with it rather than just hanging back in LA and never appearing. And I think even Simon Jordan, he keeps saying Simon Jordan, early doors he was critiquing him, but I think after a while he saw what he was trying to do, and of course since then we've actually built a really, on paper, excellent recruitment team, this sort of think tank, this sort of collaborative group of specialists to build Chelsea long term. And I think after a while he's become more and more impressed with him. But and he was posed the question, look, when do you make a change, or do you make a change, or do you listen? He says, well, it depends how big your balls are, and it depends how much you believe in your fella, which is saying, look, basically having courage to back their project and believing in Graham Potter. But he also said, which was quite sensational, really. He said it fleetingly, but he said there's more, because of course the Chelsea fans were singing for Thomas Tuchel, who of course was a successful manager at Chelsea and was fired by said ownership. He says it wasn't just their loss. He says there's some reasons why Thomas Tuchel was fired from Chelsea that I know about, and if it was me, I absolutely would have got him out probably quicker. Like, I would have fired him, but it's not my story to tell. That's Todd Boehly's story to tell. As in, like, I've heard from the circles I run in as a Premier League club owner, the reason why Thomas Tuchel was canned, and he absolutely should have been fired. And it's not my story to tell. He says that I would have absolutely told him to sling his hook, and that's a Champions League winning manager, which makes you think. I love Thomas Tuchel. I've said it many times. I still do. I loved listening to him on that health and wellness podcast on his retreat that he did in Indonesia, wherever it was. Really great. He has blown up at every club he's been to, whether it was Dortmund, whether it was falling out of Leonardo at PSG. He is very combustible historically. Now, if what Simon Jordan is saying is true, and I've got no reason to not believe Simon Johnson in terms of like the circles he runs in, like I said, if it is all true, then yeah, fair play. More sympathy to the ownership, and fair play for them keeping it locked up. And just, look, the fans are turning on me here for sacking their guy, but their guy needed to be sacked. He could, if true, he could quite easily come out and say, guys, he did this. He was a knobber. He had to go. And then the fans go, all right. But he probably doesn't want to ruin his legacy. He probably thinks do more bad than good. I think it's very interesting. Whether that story will ever come out, who knows? But it's something to think about. But I don't want to linger on this anymore because it is the past. It only became a news story because of fans echoing or singing for him. But they're allowed to do that, absolutely. You pay your money, you go and watch that sewage. You can do whatever the hell you want as long as you're not abusing anyone. Let's move on and talk about football players. So, we did see our new Ivorian Didier Drogba regen 20-year-old striker signing in the horrendous defeat at the Etihad, David Datro Fofana. I didn't keep a close eye on him enough, I must confess. I think probably because I was in such a morbidly sobering state in regards to my football team, Chelsea, and I was probably mentally preparing for the video that I then uploaded after the game, that I wasn't assessing him so closely. But I saw on social media there was some positive responses to Datro Fofana, and maybe the runs he was making, the application. Of course, he's physical, he's direct. But Fabrizio Romano has tweeted this: Chelsea will make a decision on David Datro Fofana and his potential loan move in the second half of January. It will take some time to make sure it's the best option. Potter will decide together with the board. Fofana will have his chance to impress the coach now. So we did wonder, is this 20-year-old who played in the Norwegian league, far from a top 5 league and has just turned 20 like days ago, is he just going to go from Molde as a youngster to Chelsea first team? Historically, that would have been an absolutely not. But now, of course, with the injury to Bria, and with Aubameyang seemingly just not... I don't even know what to say about Aubameyang. Let's move on. And Havertz, not necessarily being the conventional 9, they will assess him and be like, can this guy be the striker for us, or be an option for us in the first team, or should we loan him out to City, a mid-table City A team, or even the thing is, the Championship is a much higher level than the Norwegian league. I'm not suggesting that we send them to the Championship, but there's just stuff to consider here. The thing is, because we're so screwed at the moment, we're like wanting to grab onto anything and be like, yes, use him, it's got to be better, surely it's got to be better than this. But strikers don't get service in the team at the moment. That's where the problem is, not, whatever. Although, I did think Havertz was really poor yesterday, and when he conceded that handball, there's that really funny clip of Potter looking at the screen for analysis to say, is it a handball? What happened? He watches Kai just put his arm up and handball there. And he says, oh, F me, like that, like shocked, like, well, yeah, that's obviously a penalty. It's just the most obvious, like, what's he doing? Which is quite funny. I'm not going to judge Kai on a silly moment like that because they do happen, all players. But yeah, he's been tricky and it's been difficult. So why not, man? David Datro Fofana, why not? Just keep him. Give him an option, and either way, this story is dictating, or Fabrizio Romano here is saying, that Potter's going to assess him with a board and say, yeah, keep him, we haven't got anything else, or no, he's going to need time to speed up his game or whatever in terms of like reactions or whatever, because it's a fast-paced league. Let me know what you think of David Datro Fofana. Do we keep or do we loan, baby? All right, then. Of course, we've made another signing. Badiashile, I believe, will make 2 or 3 more. But when signing Badiashile, a lot of people thought, oh, young left-footed centre-back. Is this the end of Levi Colwill? But Ornstein writes on The Athletic in his column, Levi Colwill remains part of Chelsea's long-term plans, even though they have signed 4 defenders in the past 5 months. And Simon Johnson writes this, but it's on Ornstein's column. Colwill was unsettled last summer after the Premier League club bought Koulibaly and Cucurella and Wesley Fofana for a combined 158.5 million. Not including potential add-ons as well. The highly rated England under-21 international joined Brighton on loan in August in pursuit of regular team, first-team football. He made 10 appearances so far, though it took an injury to Adam Webster for the centre-back to get his chances. But now he's playing all the time. His pathway into Chelsea's first team appears to have now been blocked further with the signing of Benoit Badiashile, who plays in Colwill's preferred position as a left-sided centre-half. Of course, he's left-footed as well. And he signed a 7.5-year deal, which we've already reflected on being a sensationally long contract, but one that should, in theory, protect Chelsea. Brighton are considering taking advantage of the situation with a bid to sign Colwill permanently at the end of the season, while several other teams in the Premier League are also looking at Levi Colwill. They want to sign him as well. However, sources have told The Athletic that his parent club, Chelsea, are still keen on the 19-year-old. He's still only 19, by the way, and they want to keep him. He's expected to play for them in the future. Colwill has yet to make a senior appearance for Chelsea, but did play during their pre-season tour in the USA, of course. He will have just 2 years left on his current deal this summer and will not want to rush any plans. Yeah, because he needs reassurances he's going to play first-team football, because, ladies and gentlemen, he's absolutely good enough. Preferring to concentrate on getting more minutes at Brighton for the time being, Chelsea plan on going forward is to have 4 young defenders to choose from. And of course, Brazil captain Thiago Silva, 38, has continued to impress, but his contract expires in the season, and dude will be 39 next season. I mean, it has to end eventually. We love him, but we can't rely on a dude like a 40-year-old guy to keep us, together. Koulibaly, as much as he's been excellent in Europe, ultimately his time at Chelsea has been a disappointment. So if you take away, and he's obviously in his 30s as well, I mean, he costs a lot of money, he's probably on relatively high wages, but I mean, there's probably a move there for him if he wants to leave. So Chelsea could have 4 young centre-backs, but we've said that before. Chalobah, Fofana on the right, Badiashile, Levi Colwill on the left. 4 into 2, all young centre-backs to turn to, and maybe, I suppose, you could have a 5th in Koulibaly in rotation. It is an interesting one. If you take away, I know football is about the game of football and watching it, but if you remove that, from Chelsea at the moment, it's actually quite an exciting project. Loads of young players, loads of exciting, appropriate players to play in the right positions, and a long-term plan. Something I've been called. It's almost like a peculiar, cruel irony of me always wanting this for Chelsea, but coming at the cost of just being mid-table in the Premier League. And maybe this is what it takes. This is what it takes. Still, the headlines today dictate another tragic loss and the fans calling for the previous ownership and manager. But Interestingly, I wanted to reflect on Simon Jordan's comments because I did find that interesting. And, player movement, man. Young players coming through. Of course, it is still January. The transfer window is open. We're not even a third way through the month yet. So there will be loads of stories. So make sure you turn on the bell when you subscribe. The bell when you subscribe. Thank you for liking the video. Take care of yourselves. I'll see you soon. Peace.